Hello and welcome to Lenovo Unboxed. As always, you've got Gavin here with my buddy Kevin.
Yep, Gavin, how you doing?
Good. How's it going?
I am well.
Good. Lately, you've seen us talking a lot about the PC Plus era. You've seen us talking about smartphones, tablets. You've
Gaming
seen
PCs.
Gaming PCs. And today we come back to what you might say our roots are.
Our bread and butter.
And this is the bread and butter. This is the sweet spot of the ThinkPad line. We're here to unbox the ThinkPad T431s.
Yep.
And this is the business person's best friend, right, Kevin?
Yep, this is the latest and greatest evolution of the classic ThinkPad T-Series line. To sort of skip ahead the story, it is the lightest T-Series we have ever made.
All right,
3.6 pounds.
3.6 pounds? Give me a very quick side road and remind me when the T-Series originated.
The T-Series, I'd have to think about what the T-Series succeeded in terms of the old numbering, but it started back 2000, 99, 2000 with the T20.
Yep.
T20, T30, T40, was no T50, T60,
T60 was a
T400, so forth and so on.
And we still hear from people on Facebook. We still see pictures of ones that are still working from 8, 9 years ago.
Yep.
Sorry to take you on a side road, but back to the present. We're now looking at the modern iteration and a very slim, beautiful one.
Right, just the obligatory shot of the power adapter in the box there.
It's a nice power adapter. It's actually quite small.
Okay. You'll grab that box out from in there for me.
Sure.
Just as always, want to point out our environmentally friendly, recycled and recyclable packaging. Yes.
Your catchphrase by now. Any frequent watchers of our videos know that's one of Kevin's moments. It is actually, I kind of like the green packaging.
All
there
right,
we go.
and there we go.
There she blows.
Okay, so I do want to point out something that may not be obvious to everyone who's watching this, is that this is perhaps
the fact that we have not rehearsed or scripted any of it.
No, but that's part of the charm. Is that this is one of the first mainstream models. The Helix may have been the first. I'll have to go back and look.
Okay.
Where we've made the decision to turn the logos around. The ThinkPad logos now face the world instead of facing the user.
Very interesting kind of
just a little design note there.
Yeah, a metaphorical debate that goes on with people about how much you care about what people can see. I think it's about 50-50 on our Facebook page or on Twitter as far as what people like.
You know,
I personally don't care.
I can see it both ways, to be quite honest with you. All right, so let's do a little obligatory around the horn here on the ports, which, you know, I always love.
It wouldn't be an unboxing without the ports.
But I do want to point out, like I said, 3.6 pounds, now under 21 millimeters, so it's an Ultrabook. 20.6, I think, is the actual number.
Okay. And it is the lightest T-Series ever.
Correct. Right, so we've got smart card reader.
Okay.
Optional for corporate and government requirements.
Good.
To put in your security authentication smart card. Combo headphone microphone jack. We've got, let me see, we've got SD card. We've got USB 3.0. VGA, RJ45 Ethernet, power.
It's a lot of ports on one side.
SIM card for your wireless WAN. And then over on the other side, we've got your Kensington lock, your vent.
Fan vent.
Mini display port, and USB 3.0.
Okay.
The always on. That's what the little battery symbol there is for. Is the
and again,
always on USB 3.0.
To me, that's an awful lot of ports, and obviously it's the business person's best friend. So you need to be ready for any situation, right?
Exactly. All right. So opening it up here, you'll see we've got our matte anti-glare screen, fingerprint reader, because these are corporate models. But
Kev, what's it made out of? Sorry to interrupt. What's it made out of on the lid, by the way? I meant to ask you that.
It's the whole, this is carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Actually a carbon fiber hybrid.
Okay.
CFRP, carbon fiber reinforced plastic with certain subsections of fiberglass or glass fiber reinforced plastic, because we need to make little windows for the radio antennas.
Cool. Okay.
Yep.
Just wondered.
All right. And then magnesium for most of the rest of the casing.
Gotcha.
So classic ThinkPad engineering design materials. But as some of you may have seen, this is the first model that we've brought out with the new design language that we'll be going with for ThinkPads going forward.
Okay, and what does that mean?
Right. So the color's gotten a shade lighter. We've moved away from the pure black to a very, very, very dark gray bordering on black.
I saw a PowerPoint going around the office about all the shades of black that I never knew. It was like 50 Shades of Black, basically.
Yes.
No, a design lover's dream. But I had no idea.
You're obviously not a designer.
No, I'm going to go check Pantone's website after this and see.
But the one big thing that I wanted to point out here, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, it took me a little while to get used to one of these, but now I'm very much liking it. I've always been a TrackPoint user, not a TrackPad user. And just for anyone who's worried, we do still retain the ability to turn off one or the other.
Yep.
Or leave them both on.
I turn my trackpad off. I'm a track point guy myself.
Right.
Yep.
But what we have done in this generation is move to what we're calling a 5-button click pad or 5-button touchpad.
Okay.
FBCP is how we abbreviate it, 5-button click pad. So what we've done, in the interest, and I'll tell you why we've done it, we've taken the separate mechanical buttons that used to exist, the 3 separate mechanical buttons that used to exist for the right click, the left click, and the center click that are used with the track point, and integrated them into the click pad. Right?
Okay.
Now, we've done that in the past for the 2 physical buttons that had once existed for click pads at the bottom. We'd integrated the buttons.
Right.
So what you've actually got now is a pad that is sensing the location of your finger, and then when it is clicked with a finger on it, it is sensing one of these 5 locations, or whether it's just in the middle for a standard select.
Okay.
But there's actually only one button here. Right? The entire thing goes up and down, and that's part of the design. It is specifically designed, actually, using the lifter mechanisms that came from the keys.
Cool.
So we didn't want something from a usability, reliability, long-term durability perspective that rocked back and forth, right? Because there are concerns there with long-term reliability.
Sure.
We didn't want something that bent or flexed because of concerns with long-term reliability or durability.
Right.
We wanted something that in one entire unit, whether you clicked it here, on the edge, in the middle, anywhere around the whole thing, we wanted it to go up and down in one smooth motion. Right?
So when I first saw this aspect of the design, I assumed it was more of a visual design reason for doing it, but it sounds like maybe more of an engineering thought process that went into it.
An engineering rationale behind it in terms of making it work like that.
Right.
But one of the main reasons for doing it in the first place was simply to be able to expand the size of this.
Right. Okay.
Because you always want your touchpad to be roughly the same aspect ratio as the screen, right? You don't want a wide screen and a tall touchpad.
Sure.
Right? You start to get your muscle memory gets confused, right? So
Okay.
in order to make this bigger and accommodate the new world of swipe in gestures, swipe out gestures, multiple finger gestures, we needed to make it big, right? And you can't do that if you've got 5 buttons in the way.
Sure.
So we've integrated the buttons into it, but done a lot of research and development on this mechanism that uses the lifters from the ThinkPad keyboard to make sure that this is an absolutely smooth experience and has the same sort of tactile feedback characteristics as the classic ThinkPad keyboard.
Right. Very cool.
Right.
So again, a very different looking. I mean, it's the same old ThinkPad, but it's really not. And
Right.
so I think that's there's been a lot of talk about the evolution of ThinkPad design, and to me that's a really cool aspect of it. Again, there's always a push and pull you figure between visual design and engineering,
Right.
and trying to give people the best experience and also the slickest, most beautiful design.
And
So
I folded that down just to point out that we have kept the 100% fully fold flat display.
Yep.
Not that many people will actually use it in this configuration, but the good thing is from a reliability, durability perspective, cats, dogs, children, anyone who comes along and snags the corner of this and flaps it down, it's made to do that. So
you terrify me when you do that stuff. You know that.
All right.
The hinges that when you did that with the hinge, it reminds me. I remember seeing an exhibit at one of our trade shows where we touted that the hinges are tested 30,000 times.
30,000 times.
But it's worth noting that these pass all the military spec tests, right? So baked in an oven, baked, battered, and blistered. We always say they're frozen. They have dust blown on them. And I know you've been over to Yamato and Yokohama, Japan, where we have the labs. What does it say about ThinkPad longevity and durability, Kevin, that we do these?
Right. So it is an evolutionary design, the next step in ThinkPad design, but it, as you say, it passes all those tests. It's designed by the same folks, designed to pass all the same internal tests. So in every classic respect, it is a ThinkPad.
Meant to be abused.
Well,
right? I mean, by the business person, not don't be frisbeeing
let's say
with this
meant
stuff.
to withstand what people put it through in real life.
Right.
Okay.
Want to give us a quick spec rundown, Kev, and then we can sign off?
Sure. Like I said, 3.6 pounds, under 20 millimeters, 1600 by 900 screen in this model. No touch screen available in this model, but as I said, this is the casing and the style that you'll see in the future. So,
Is it fair to say we might see some touch models coming down the line?
Might very well. Not necessarily in this exact model, but in the future. So
absolutely.
Yep.
Good. And that is the ThinkPad T431s unboxed for you today. Meant for business, but honestly, I've been using ThinkPads for 17 years now.
Same here.
Pretty into them, man. They work for me at home.
It's my favorite.
That's the show for today, folks.
Right.
Kevin, thanks as always.
Thanks, folks. Thanks, Gavin.
Is the keyboard backlit?
Yes, the keyboard is backlit.
What is the peanut gallery doing here? All right. Yes. Is the keyboard backlit, Kevin?
Yes. These are available with a backlit keyboard.
So the keyboard is backlit?
Yes, the keyboard is backlit.
I think we've now sufficiently covered that. And a special shout out to Joe, who always catches us when we forget anything. So,
all right. Thank you, folks.